Imagine living your entire life without anyone ever knowing your real name. Imagine every guard who looked at you being ordered never to speak to you, never to ask questions, never to remove the mask covering your face. Now imagine that anyone who broke those rules could be executed. It sounds like the beginning of a fictional novel. But this story was recorded in official prison documents for more than 3 centuries. Historians have argued over one simple question. Who was the man in the iron mask? Was he the forgotten brother of a king? A political prisoner? A traitor? Or someone whose identity was so dangerous that an entire kingdom tried to erase him from history? The truth begins in 17th century France. At that time, France was becoming one of Europe's most powerful nations. Its armies were growing stronger. Its economy was expanding. And one young king dreamed of becoming the most powerful ruler on earth. His name was Louis XIV. History remembers him as the Sun King. He built magnificent palaces, hosted extravagant celebrations, and transformed France into the center of European culture. To the public, everything appeared perfect. But behind the glittering royal court, the kingdom was filled with secrets, political conspiracies, hidden alliances, power struggles, and whispers that never appeared in official records. Among all those secrets, one mystery survived longer than any other. It began with a prisoner. Not an ordinary prisoner. This man had no public trial, no official crime, no family allowed to visit him, no public record revealing his true identity. Even stranger, he was transferred from one prison to another under heavy military guard. Every governor received the same order: protect him at all costs. Allow no one to discover who he really is. If the prisoner attempted to reveal his identity, he was to be silenced immediately. Years passed. The prisoner grew older. Kings change. Governors retired. Wars came and went. Yet the mysterious prisoner remained hidden. Wherever he traveled, the mask traveled with him. Many people today imagine a heavy iron helmet covering his face. But historians believe the reality was probably different. Most evidence suggests the mask was likely made of black velvet reinforced with metal fittings. Even so, its purpose remained the same: to hide one man's face from the world forever. Why? That single question would inspire hundreds of books, countless documentaries, and one of the most famous novels ever written. Some believed the prisoner knew a dangerous political secret. Others believed he was connected to the royal family itself. There were even rumors that he and King Louis XIV looked almost identical. Could they have been brothers? Could France have hidden its true heir to the throne? Or was the mystery itself carefully created to distract people from a much simpler truth? Before we can answer those questions, we must travel inside the prisons of 17th century France. Because somewhere behind stone walls, locked iron doors, and endless silence, a nameless prisoner waited. His face hidden, his voice forgotten. But his mystery was only beginning. By the late 17th century, the mysterious prisoner had already become more than a man. He had become a secret. Every prison that received him followed the same unusual instructions. He was to be isolated from every other prisoner. His meals were delivered in complete silence. Letters were forbidden. Visitors were forbidden. Even ordinary conversations were discouraged. The prison guards knew almost nothing about the man they watched every day. Some had served for years. Yet they never learned his real name. One careless question could end a career. Or perhaps something even worse. The king's orders were absolute. The prisoner's identity had to remain hidden. At any cost. But why? What secret could frighten the most powerful king in Europe? King Louis XIV ruled France with unmatched authority. He believed that the king answered only to God. Every law, every army, every noble family ultimately obeyed him. A ruler with that much power feared very few people. Yet someone had decided that this single prisoner could never be allowed to speak freely. That fact alone has puzzled historians for centuries. As the years passed, rumors spread far beyond the prison walls. Some believed the prisoner was an Italian nobleman who knew dangerous political secrets. Others claimed he had uncovered corruption within the royal government. But the most famous theory was far more dramatic. According to one rumor, the prisoner was the king's own twin brother. The story claimed that Queen Anne had secretly given birth to 2 sons instead of 1. If both children had survived, which one was the rightful king? The answer could have thrown the entire kingdom into chaos. Supporters of this theory believed the second child was hidden immediately after birth. As he grew older, his existence became too dangerous to ignore. Rather than execute him, the royal court supposedly chose another solution. Hide him forever. Erase his identity. And make sure no one ever saw his face. It is an extraordinary story. But is there any evidence? Surprisingly, very little. No official document from the royal court confirms that Louis XIV ever had a twin brother. No birth record mentions 2 royal sons. No trusted witness ever described such an event. Most modern historians believe the twin brother theory is probably fiction. Yet the mystery refuses to disappear. Because one undeniable fact remains. Someone important was hidden with extraordinary care. Another theory points toward politics instead of family. 17th century France was filled with spies, secret negotiations, and international rivalries. Powerful governments constantly exchanged confidential information. One man with the wrong knowledge could threaten an entire kingdom. Perhaps the mysterious prisoner knew something so dangerous that keeping him alive, but invisible, was considered safer than allowing him to speak. If that theory is true, the mask was never meant to protect the prisoner. It was meant to protect everyone else. Years turned into decades. The prisoner grew older. Governors changed. Soldiers retired. Kings celebrated victories. But behind locked doors, the silent prisoner remained. No public trial. No official explanation. No freedom. Only questions. Questions that would outlive everyone involved. And then, the mysterious prisoner was transferred once again. His destination was one of the most heavily guarded fortresses in France. A prison that would later become famous around the world. The Bastille. There, his final years would unfold. And the mystery would become even darker. The journey ended behind walls that few people ever escaped. The Bastille. Long before it became a symbol of the French Revolution, the Bastille was a place where the king's most sensitive prisoners simply disappeared. Its towering stone walls dominated the eastern edge of Paris. Massive towers surrounded the fortress. Heavy wooden gates sealed every entrance. Deep moats and thick walls made escape almost impossible. For ordinary people, the Bastille was more than a prison. It was a warning. Anyone who entered those gates could vanish from history. When the mysterious prisoner arrived, he did not enter like the others. His transfer was carried out with extraordinary secrecy. Only a handful of trusted officials knew he was coming. The governor personally supervised every detail. His room was prepared before his arrival. The windows were carefully secured. The guards received strict instructions. No unnecessary conversation. No questions. No curiosity. The prisoner's identity remained more valuable than gold. Unlike many prisoners of the time, he was not chained inside a dark underground cell. Historical records suggest he received clean clothing, proper meals, fresh bedding, and even books on occasion. This has puzzled historians for generations. Why would an ordinary criminal receive such unusual treatment? The answer may lie in one important detail. Whoever this man was, the French government wanted him alive. Not comfortable. Not free. But alive. Every morning followed the same routine. A guard unlocked the heavy door. Food was delivered. The prisoner spoke very little. Some reports suggest he was calm, polite, and surprisingly well educated. His manners did not resemble those of a common thief or soldier. Instead, they reflected someone raised among wealth or influence. Several guards later described him as quiet, almost accepting of his strange fate. Whether those accounts were completely accurate, no one can say. Many official records disappeared over the centuries. Others were destroyed during the French Revolution. The silence surrounding the prisoner became almost as mysterious as the prisoner himself. One document written by Governor St. Mars offers a small clue. It describes the prisoner as someone who required careful supervision. Not because he was violent, but because his identity could never become public. Those words changed everything. If the danger had been physical, chains would have been enough. Instead, the greatest danger seemed to be recognition. His face, his name, his past. Some historians believe the famous mask itself has been exaggerated over time. The popular image of a heavy iron helmet probably came much later through novels and artwork. The real mask was likely made of black velvet, held in place with small metal fittings. Simple, comfortable enough to wear for long periods, yet effective enough to hide his appearance whenever strangers might see him. Even so, the image of an iron mask captured people's imagination. It transformed a forgotten prisoner into an immortal legend. Years passed inside the Bastille. Outside the prison, France celebrated victories, built magnificent palaces, hosted royal festivals. Inside, time barely moved. The mysterious prisoner grew older. His hair turned gray. His health slowly declined. Still, his identity remained protected. No public records revealed his real name. No confession was ever written. No official explanation was offered. Then, in the autumn of 1703, the prisoner's long silence finally came to an end. He died inside the Bastille. His body was buried quietly. Even in death, the secrecy continued. According to surviving records, his burial was carried out under a different name. Whether that name was real, or simply another attempt to hide the truth, no one knows. The man was gone. But the mystery had only begun. Because after his death, theories spread across Europe faster than ever before. Some would sound believable. Others, almost impossible. Yet one question refused to disappear. If he was only an ordinary prisoner, why did France work so hard to erase him from history? The mysterious prisoner was dead. His grave was marked with a different name. His face had remained hidden until the very end. One might expect the story to end there. Instead, it was only beginning. As the years passed, writers, historians, and ordinary people all asked the same question. Who was he? Without clear answers, theories began to spread across Europe. Some were supported by historical documents. Others were fueled by imagination. But together, they created one of history's greatest mysteries. The most famous theory was also the most dramatic. It claimed that the prisoner was the identical twin brother of King Louis XIV. According to the story, the queen secretly gave birth to two sons. Only one could inherit the throne. If the existence of the second child became public, France could fall into civil war. So one brother became king. The other disappeared forever. Centuries later, this idea became famous around the world because of novels and films. It captured people's imagination. A hidden prince, a stolen crown, a lifetime behind a mask. It sounded like the perfect mystery. But history demands evidence. And evidence is where this theory begins to fall apart. Royal births were watched by ministers, nobles, doctors, and church officials. Hundreds of witnesses were present. Keeping the birth of a second prince completely secret would have been almost impossible. No official record. No trusted diary. No royal document has ever confirmed that Louis XIV had a twin brother. For most historians, the theory remains fascinating, but highly unlikely. Another theory points toward a man named Ercole Antonio Mattioli. He was an Italian diplomat. During secret negotiations with France, he was accused of betraying King Louis XIV by revealing confidential military plans. Some historians believe Mattioli was arrested, taken to France, and imprisoned under extreme secrecy. Unlike the twin brother theory, this explanation has real historical documents supporting parts of the story. But there is a problem. The recorded dates, the descriptions, and the movements of Mattioli do not perfectly match those of the mysterious prisoner. Could they have been the same man? Possibly. Can historians prove it? Not completely. Then came another possibility. Perhaps the prisoner was not royalty, nor a diplomat, but a trusted servant who simply knew too much. Royal courts were filled with secret negotiations, political scandals, hidden relationships, financial corruption. One person with dangerous knowledge could threaten an entire government. Instead of executing such a person, perhaps the king chose permanent silence. No public trial, no execution, no questions, just disappearance. Some researchers have even suggested that the prisoner's true identity was deliberately mixed with false stories. Imagine spreading several different rumors at once. A prince. A spy. A diplomat. A servant. If everyone believes a different story, no one discovers the truth. Could that have been the real strategy? We may never know, as more documents were discovered over the centuries. Historians carefully compared prison records, royal letters, military reports, and financial documents. Some clues fit together. Others created even more confusion. Every answer seemed to produce two new questions. That is why the man in the iron mask remains different from almost every other historical mystery. There is no single missing piece. There are dozens, and each one points in a different direction. Perhaps that is exactly why the story has survived for more than 300 years. Not because we know the answer, but because we never will. Yet before we accept that conclusion, there is one final question we must ask. If the mystery could never be solved, why do people still care? Why does a prisoner with no known name still capture the imagination of millions around the world? To answer that, we must look beyond the prison walls, beyond the mask, and beyond the man himself. Because sometimes, the greatest mystery is not who someone was. It is why their story refused to disappear. The prisoner was gone. His cell became empty. His belongings disappeared. His grave carried a false name. For the French government, the story was over. But history had other plans. As decades passed, the mysterious prisoner slowly transformed into something far greater than a forgotten man. He became a legend. Every generation asked the same question. Who was he? And every generation created a different answer. Some believed he was a prince. Others believed he was a spy. Some insisted he knew a royal secret so dangerous that even speaking his name could threaten the throne of France. The truth slowly disappeared beneath centuries of rumors. Then, in the 19th century, a famous French writer gave the mystery a new life. His name was Alexandre Dumas. In his novel, he imagined the prisoner as the identical twin brother of King Louis XIV. The story captured the imagination of millions. Readers around the world embraced the idea. Soon, the legend became larger than history itself. Films were made. Television series followed. The mysterious prisoner became one of the most recognizable figures in historical fiction. Yet historians continued searching for facts. Old archives were opened. Letters were carefully examined. Prison records were compared. Royal documents were studied line by line. Every discovery answered one question and created two more. Modern researchers now agree on one important point. The famous Iron Mask probably never existed. Most historical evidence suggests the prisoner wore a black velvet mask, strengthened with small metal pieces. The image of a heavy iron helmet became popular much later through novels, paintings, and films. Sometimes, a powerful story becomes stronger than reality. But one mystery remains unchanged. Why was his identity protected with such extraordinary care? Why did prison governors receive personal instructions from the king? Why were official records so limited? And why was he buried under another name? Those questions still have no final answers. Perhaps we have been asking the wrong question all along. Maybe the real mystery is not who is behind the mask. Maybe the real mystery is, why did an entire kingdom fear his identity? History often remembers kings, generals, victorious armies. But sometimes, the person we remember most is the one whose name was erased. The man in the iron mask left behind no speeches, no letters, no autobiography, no portrait that can be confirmed. Only silence. Yet that silence has echoed across more than 300 years. Today, millions of visitors walk through old French fortresses. Historians continue debating forgotten documents. Writers continue imagining new possibilities. And filmmakers continue bringing the legend back to life. Very few historical mysteries have survived this long. Perhaps they never will be solved. And perhaps that is exactly why they continue to fascinate us. Because mystery invites imagination. It reminds us that history is not only a collection of answers. It is also a collection of unanswered questions. Some secrets disappear forever. Others refuse to die. The man in the iron mask may never reveal his true identity. His real name may already be lost to history. But his story continues to challenge everything we think we know about power, secrecy, and truth. Maybe one forgotten document still waits inside an old archive. Maybe one lost letter has yet to be discovered. Until that day comes, the mask remains closed. The mystery remains alive. And history continues to whisper the same question. Who is the man in the iron mask? Thank you for watching. If you enjoy documentaries that explore history's greatest mysteries, subscribe for more stories hidden beneath the pages of history. And tell us in the comments, who do you believe the man in the iron mask really was? Because sometimes, the best mysteries are the ones that history never completely solves.